Hello, friends, both old and new. I am John St. Baptiste, and this is Music Makes the People Come Together, where we share amazing and eclectic music with amazing and eclectic people, much like yourselves. This is the playlist for the week, which I always release on Sunday. I released the teaser on Thursday. I hope you checked that out. We're going to talk about that and all the other tracks this week here in just a moment. First thing I want to do though is shout out everybody who mentions me on their channels, which means so much to me. It really does. That you take the time and trouble to do so. So thank you, Azor Hype, AU Pack Mule, Lawrence Corner, uh, Rawrist, and especially Indie Geek, who goes out of his way to not just mention me, but actually like talk about me and my channel and things like that. That is awesome. Thank you so very much. He has a new channel up himself, so now there are two. It's called The World's Hotel. It's him reading public domain, science fiction, fantasy, speculative fiction, horror, things like that. It is absolutely awesome. Just listening to his voice. I mean, he has this perfect for telly Central English voice that's just amazing, and he reads so well, and he does it so that it's commercial free, and oh, it's just great. So, thank you for coming here today. We are going to talk about music. The track for this week, which was released on Thursday, is the theme for this week. It's probably not always going to be the case from now on, but we'll get into that in a moment. But it is the theme for this week, and the theme for this week is tragedy. Especially self-inflicted tragedy, which we have the perfect weather for this right now here in Ohio. It is storming and raining, and oh, it's just, I feel like I'm on the set for a Wagnerian opera. We're going to talk about opera here in a little bit, but tragedy, yes, self-inflicted tragedy, and the first track for this week, which came up earlier on Thursday, was Mr. Self-Destruct by Nine Inch Nails. This is off their classic 1994 album, The Downward Spiral. I should say his classic 1994 album, The Downward Spiral, because Trent Reznor did do 90% of the music and work and so forth for it. There were other musicians who contributed. I'm not taking anything away from them. I know off the top of my head, Charlie Closer was one of them. There's another one who I'm not going to name because he comes into the trivia question for this week. But great work, and it is seriously awesome because it's an overture for the album. And by the way, please, if you have time, don't just check out this track. Look up the whole album because it's an amazing album. It's kind of a lost art form nowadays to make an entire album that ties together, and Reznor did this, and it's an awesome album. But this piece is kind of the overture, and it is a view into the mind of this person who almost you're watching this person go mad, which is so intriguing and so interesting. And the album itself is just great. I remember waiting. It came out in 1994. I was a sophomore in high school, and I remember waiting for 5 different delayed releases. I had already prepaid for it. It's Sam Goody. If you live in America and you remember Sam Goody, congrats to you. You just made me feel not so old. So thank you for that. But Sam Goody was a music chain. They used to sell records a long, long time ago. So, this song is so great. You watch this descent into madness, and it kind of overtures the descent into madness that the entire album is. And it is really wonderful. This song, actually, this entire album was produced by Flood, who, if you're a U2 fan, he produced a number of works by U2 and produced this entire album, and his work is absolutely amazing. It was recorded in the Tate House. So, allegedly, Trent Reznor did not know that this was the Tate House when he bought it. He just knew that it was a house in LA that was being sold for cheap, and he bought it, and then he found out that it was the Tate House. But, who knows? I mean, this is Trent Reznor we're talking about here. So, a funny anecdote, he was doing an interview with this reporter who kept bringing it up, and I guess he just wanted to screw with him a little bit. And so he pointed at this patch in the backyard where the grass was all brown and wouldn't really grow and all that. And he said, "Yeah, it's weird. You know, that's where the guy who got it worse, like, got it. Like, that's where he got killed." And he's like, "I'm just screwing with you. That's where Maisie pees." Maisie was his dog. Spot on. Spot on. That is funny AF. I'm sorry. That is funny AF. Freaking hilarious. But I'm 6 minutes into this, and we need to go on with the list because I don't want to keep you here for a half an hour. So, better to be happy track for this week. And it's hard to find happy hardcore that's dark and tragic. But I actually did. Technically, this song is happy hardcore. I would definitely consider it some form of hardcore. We'll call it happy hardcore. It is Psy and Unknown doing Gangsters Paradise by Coolio. This is an awesome remix. A lot of people, this track ties into the whole self-destructive tragedy in that it's about living in this culture of a vendetta society and a society where one really cannot get out of it and just has to keep trying to get by. But the more you try and do what you need to do to keep getting by, the deeper you dig your hole. This is amazingly done. And what's really cool is that the loop that's in here comes from Pastime Paradise, which is off of Stevie Wonder's album, Songs in the Key of Life. I think it was track number 6. I'm not positive about that. It's been quite a few years since I've listened to that album. Which, actually, this inspires me. I think I need to do again. Oh. But it's great stuff, and what Psy and Unknown did with this made it even greater. The beat behind it is just great, and then you have the original track, you have the loop. Awesome. Please don't think of that movie that I can't remember her name is in, where you hear this like every 5 minutes, because it really is a good track. The original is. And as I always say, if I put up a remix or I put up a cover, please listen to the original, because that's the way the song was meant to be interpreted by the artist. And it is definitely worth listening to. Did I just say interpreted by the artist? Check out both, but definitely check this out. It is awesome. Moving on, the fracking opera for this week is My Gateway Drug, Don Giovanni, by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Lorenzo de Pont did the libretto. And, oh my gosh, this is a really cool recording. For one thing, the recording is just so well done. Also, I always try to include subtitles. This has both the English and the original Italian subtitles. And there's a great little essay written by the person who uploaded this initially. In the description, that you can check out that talks about the interpretation of it. So enjoy that. Don Giovanni, oh my gosh. So my mother was always a Mozart fan, but she was much more preferential to his symphonic work. Never really got me into opera. And then when I was 10 or 11, I saw Amadeus for the first time. Great movie, horribly inaccurate. But saw it for the first time, thought it was awesome. And the scenes where they include footage of Don Giovanni made me want to go and listen to this. So I walked up to the library right up the street and checked it out. And I came home and I listened to it over and over and over and over and over again. I love this piece. I've seen it, I want to say, I'm pretty sure it's 12 times I've seen this. There's one scene that is so hilarious that I still laugh every time I see it. Because what's really cool about this is that it's played in 2 acts. The first half is comedic, and the second half is tragic. And there are parts of both in both, but I mean in its essential overwhelming feeling of each act. But it's a great, funny scene. All I'm going to say is it involves a book, and I laugh my ass off every time I see it. It is wonderful. Also, it combines both the folklore of Don Juan and the folklore of Faust in this whole tragic concept of getting what you want and paying for it. Also, it was one of the original inspirations for La Liaisons de Dangereux, which is Dangerous Liaisons, for those of you who don't speak French. Amazing book. Also, there's a great film, 2 great films, Dangerous Liaisons and Valmont. But it describes the whole concept of having what you want is not so pleasing as getting what you wanted. And the cost of having what you want is getting what you wanted. Really good stuff. I hope you enjoy it. But yes, tragic self-destruction. This is all about tragic self-destruction. So, after that, the full track for this week is, in its entirety, off of the vinyl. And I mean, all you see on the video is the record turning and the guy flipping the album. Pink Floyd's The Wall. This was Roger Waters' opus. It was such an unbelievable piece. It's still such an unbelievable piece. And it talks about the tragic decline that one has in fame. For him, it was music, but you also see this with actors and actresses. You see it with celebrities of any form. You fall apart. You were trying to play this part for so long. Some of these people are just so unhappy. Look at Amy Winehouse. Look at Heath Ledger. These people who just fell apart, having everything they wanted. Oh my gosh, and it's amazing. It's the entire original album done on the vinyl. My one criticism, and it's a very small one, take into consideration that I was a professional DJ for years, and I invested a ton of money in my equipment. My one criticism is that you do hear all the background noise on the record. So you hear the which actually is kind of cool, because you hear it the way most people would have heard it, unless they had a sick hi-fi setup when it came out in, I want to say, 1979. So it really doesn't take anything away from it, but from a sound quality, as someone who's been a DJ, someone who's dumped thousands of dollars into needles and turntables and cartridges. I notice it, but it's not bad, and it honestly, in its own way, kind of adds to it. But this is a all about a person's life falling apart because of their success. And if you ever get the opportunity, if you're ever in Cleveland, Ohio, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If for no other reason, and there are a million other reasons, but if for no other reason, go there because there is an exhibit just about the wall. And it has a number of quotes and discussions by Roger Waters, and it is so sweet. Please check it out. It is some great stuff. Moving on from that, the cover that kicks ass this week. Oh my gosh. The Be Good Tanya's doing Waiting Around to Die by Townes Van Zandt. Townes Van Zandt's one of my favorite artists of all time. If you've never checked him out, please go check him out right now after you watch this. And the Be Good Tanyas, who are this bluegrass folk trio, doing it is just unbelievable. It is so heart-wrenching and bleak. It starts out bad, and it sounds like it's getting better, but it just gets worse. And that's all I'm going to say. I hope you really enjoy the track. And please check anything and everything you can find by both artists out. Finally, the Who's House, John's House track this week is Zeno doing Russian Roulette. You don't really get more self-destructively tragic than playing Russian Roulette, do you? This is from the era when house and trance were really kind of cross-combining, which I think is great. I think it's great when music combines with other types of music and people try different things and do different things. So I hope you enjoy that factor. I also hope you enjoy the fact that, I mean, yeah, it's almost a trance track the way it's written, but the beat progression is entirely house. And I hope you enjoy just the whole, everything that goes into this. So I have a few announcements to make. Fracking Opera is going to end this week, along with opera season. It's not going to end, it's going to go on hiatus. Next spring, when we're getting closer to when opera season starts, it will be coming back up. But in the meantime, we've got some other playlists that are going to go on. If you check out some of our recent videos, you can see some information about those, or you can just sit around and be surprised. But check out my recent videos anyway. Speaking of which, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out my music. I want to share music with you, I want you to share music with me, and I want you to share music with each other. So, other announcements. We have a new thing that comes up every Wednesday night or Thursday morning, which is called Midweek Ear Candy. I'm going to play a track that I can't really fit into a playlist that a subscriber or follower has just sent me, and I'm going to play it and I'm going to curate it as well as I can. So I hope you enjoy that. Also, unless I have some huge backlash about this, what I'm going to start doing is every 4 or 5 weeks, putting up for the playlist what I like to call Dealer's Choice, where I still stick within the same 6 playlists, but I just play whatever I feel like. And I think that'd be really cool. I can get out some great music to people that I can't really thematically fit into something. So I hope that's something you really dig on. Trivia. So last week's trivia question, Bananarama were doing very poorly financially and had to stay with somebody. They stayed with a member of the Sex Pistols who put him up in an apartment in his studio. Who was that? It was Paul Cook. This was answered by Amy True. Be careful, this woman swoops in and answers trivia of the week like I don't even know what. She has said she hogs all the smooches. I give a smooch for every correct trivia question. So blame her if you don't get there in time. This week's trivia question. The theme of the week was by Nine Inch Nails. It was Mr. Self-Destruct. There was a guest guitarist. Who was that guest guitarist? I will give you a hint. He came from the same city I live in right now. Also, he was the touring guitarist for David Bowie for a while. So 2 hints. This is pretty obscure, but I hope that helps you get it. And I hope that you enjoy the trivia every week. But if not, I'm sure Amy will get the smooch again. Because that's what she does. I'm spending this week, my exciting thing is I'm going to see Another Brick in the Wall, which is an operatic interpretation of The Wall by Pink Floyd. I'm going with my son. We're going to the Cincinnati Opera. It's going to be his first opera, which is pretty cool. And I am going to get footage of the before, the after, and the intermission. As I've stated before, during an opera, you cannot do any footage, and I completely respect and understand that. So, I hope you enjoy checking out that video. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Please, until I see you next, share music with each other. POUR. Be excellent to one another. And party on.